Hi and welcome to the New Investors My Story. Joining me on the show today is our youngest ever guest. He's a self-made millionaire. He's 17 years old. Please welcome Jack Bloomfield. Hi, Jack.
God, thanks so much for having me.
Oh, no, delighted to have you. Actually, really delighted to have you.
Thank you.
You've had a busy morning.
I have, yeah. Been Sydney, I got to Sydney yesterday and had a blast so far, which is fantastic.
Brilliant. And so I thought when you were coming on today, you're still in school, but in fact, you're not in school anymore.
No, I'm not. It's surreal, actually, because a lot of people still think that, and I've been saying for the last 2 years, I have been in school, and then now finally 2 weeks ago, we finished up, done, dusted, and now finally I'm out, which doesn't really feel like it's real. So give me a couple of months for it to sink in, and then I'll be able to say I'm out.
So you're finito. So did you do exams? So you had all the exams, when do those results come out? I'm not 100% with them.
So I think we get some results in 2 weeks' time, and then I think like start of next year, it's like OP and all that stuff. Thank God I don't care too much about it because I've got other things going on. But I think that for every other kid, then it's next year.
And so what about schoolies?
So got back on that on Saturday, which was a fun time, obviously, I think for everyone. They always say, because it goes for 7 days, and it's, for anyone who doesn't know, it's like a party on the Gold Coast with like 20,000 kids who finish school, come together and, I guess, celebrate the end of school for 7 days.
Yeah.
And they always say that if you last till Tuesday, starts on Saturday, if you last till Tuesday, you're doing a really good job. So I was like, oh my God, what am I getting myself into? And from there, it was like fantastic. By Thursday, I was having the time of my life, and Saturday finished up.
So what, you started on Saturday and then you went through to the following Friday?
Went through following Saturday, so a whole 7 days. Which was,
You've got your businesses running. So what did you do with your businesses during that week?
Well, that's ironic because most of my room, 6 of us in the room, most of them get up at 11 or 12 o'clock in the morning. So I'd have to get up a couple of hours before, hammer away at emails. Currently right now in the e-commerce world, it's Thanksgiving. We got Black Friday, Cyber Monday, all these huge holidays over in the US, which is prime sales time. So to try, organize, coordinate while also trying to have a good time and not work during the day is very hard, but I guess it comes with the job. Usually I'm up at like 5 or 6 in the morning, but since you go to bed at 2 a.m. the night before, it kind of sweeps through to the other day,
So you got up in the middle of school and you were doing some work, but that's been the trend for you since really, really young.
It's like the story of my life pretty much, because it's no matter whether it's schoolies or school, it doesn't matter, because school goes from 8 in the morning till 3 in the afternoon. So for me, obviously everything in the US happens overnight here in Australia. So I get up super early, usually 5:30, check on everything, emails, try to get it all done, get ready for school around 7:30, have mum yell at me because I'm always late, jump in the car and zoom to school. And then from 3 o'clock, it's almost like bludgeoningly do homework till about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And then it's straight into the business again till 10:30, 11 at night. So
wow. So that's brilliant, because like when you're saying doing the homework. So in your head, okay, actually let's go back to the beginning. So as we said there at the beginning, you've a self-made millionaire at the age of 17. Well, you only turned 17 recently as well. So when was your first business or your first business idea?
Yeah, well, if you look business idea, I mean, on my Instagram, there's a video of me at 8 years old, sitting in a chair a bit bigger than this, obviously a lot younger at 8, in a suit and a tie. And I mean, I bust into Dad's office about 5 minutes before that video was taken and said, Dad, I really want you to go ahead and interview me about this new business I was going to start. And he was on the phone. He said, oh, Jack, get lost. Come back in a minute. Anyway, so I kind of sort of stuff you. So I went and got the suit and the tie on. I made this huge big banner display to put behind. And then got the camcorder, found it in the cupboard, went back and asked him to ask me a couple of questions about the business I was going to start. It was going to be
What was the business?
So it's going to be a transport business. We were going to ship packages from city to city. Our main competitors were Toll, Linfox, T-Mac. We were going to make $400 a year in profit. I was going to have 3 trucks, 3 planes. I was going to employ all these kids from school. Like it was
kids, you were going to employ
it was intense. Like I had it all figured out.
That is so cute.
Obviously didn't amount to anything, but I think it's kind of proof that it's something that I'd always wanted to do. For me, the idea of getting a receipt printer, like as a gift, was like, holy moly. Like, it was just fantastic.
So was your dad an entrepreneur?
So, look, Mum and Dad started the business they run now 19 years ago. Dad used to be an accountant, had a really good job. Mum and Dad were doing really well, but he was bored. So 18 years ago, sold everything, bought a small little tennis centre in Brisbane, of all things. He didn't even play tennis, but he just saw an opportunity, and they've grown it to what it is today, which is fantastic. But through that, it's completely separate to what I do. So through that, the blood, the sweat, the tears, the hustle, because he worked in the shop. He didn't have any other employees. He couldn't afford to pay anyone. So literally he was in there for hours and hours on it. And look, we'd have dinner as a family, as most families do every night, and there'd be a buzzer on the counter. And usually, what's that for? So the buzzer itself was actually for the pro shop downstairs. We lived above the tennis centre. So I saw firsthand when every time someone would want to buy a racket, check in for a lesson at 7 o'clock at night, they'd ring the buzzer, he'd get up, stop dinner, go downstairs, serve them, come back up and join the family.
So always on. Work was always on.
All work was always on. Didn't matter what time of the day. There was no such thing as a 9 to 5. It didn't exist.
Yeah.
And for me, as much as I took that on board, it was very subconscious in terms of things that I picked up throughout the trek and kind of went, well, if I'm going to start my own business, which I always wanted to do, this is almost like how it's going to go. So the expectation there was set, very high in terms of workload and effort and what it really took to get it to succeed.
And so when you got that, as the 8-year-old, like where did that shipping business idea come from? Were you watching something on TV or did you something? When did you get your first iPad or?
For the shipping business, my actual cousin's dad ran a trucking business and he did really well. And I thought, well, I want to become like him. So I actually went to my cousin. I said, do you want to become business partners and want to run this thing together?
That's so cute.
Like it was just so nuts. And as I say, I can't explain it. Now, people ask, was the love and the passion for business and entrepreneurship something that you were born with or something that, you kind of got taught? And mum and dad never actively taught me anything about business. They never sat me down and said one day.
Fundamentals.
Yeah, the fundamentals. This is how you start a business.
No,
this is what you got to do. This is how you. That never happened. And for me, I guess the spark was always there because from day one, they'd always said, if you want a car, if you want a phone, if you want a phone plan, and you want a Nintendo, whatever it was back in the day, you're going to have to go ahead and work for it yourself. We're never going to buy it for you. So I always knew that I'd always wanted a nice car. I'd always wanted really cool things. And I knew that working at Kmart or McDonald's or whatever was never going to get me there. So the next step was, well, how the hell do I actually make some money? I knew successful people ran businesses, and that's how it started at 8 because I always wanted to just do something more.
Something more. That's so cute. I have to watch that Instagram with the little
please
suit and tie.
do. It's only 5 minutes on there, but I kid you not, there's like a 20-minute video, which I haven't released yet. I'm going to wait because the older I get, the funnier it gets along with it.
Yeah. Because you're only, you're not even 10 years, it's not even 10 years later. So then the first business that you actually got off ground, you were 12 years old.
12 years old, yeah. So that was essential. It was a gift card business where the idea for that came around where, back in the day where you used to buy gift cards for each other. And the idea of buying a gift card is pretty simple. You go to Big W or Woolworths and you purchase it. But when it comes to actually sending it to someone, you number one, get the gift card. So you got to go to Coles or Woolworths.
Yeah.
Then you got to get the greeting cards. So what you actually write in, so the happy birthday card. Then you've actually got to write in it, which God knows where you're going to do that. Then you've also got to go and put it in the envelope, figure out where you're going to send it to, go to the post office and send it. Like that's a 3-step process.
Yeah.
So I figured, well, how can I simplify that? That came to, why don't we build a website? Why don't we go buy all the gift cards, buy some greeting cards?
So when you said, how can I simplify that? You're 12. You were looking at a process and you're thinking, how can I simplify that?
Pretty much. Yeah, well, it didn't, you say it like that, but I mean, it didn't seem like that at the time. And I can't even quantify it. Like you, I don't know.
Yeah. It
was almost, because, I liked computers. I never knew how to code. I still don't know how to code. I found out you can do a drag and drop website builder.
Yeah.
And I figured out how to use that, which I guess was pretty easy because you took photos of the greeting cards, you uploaded them to Photoshop, you cropped them, and then you uploaded them onto the website.
Onto a drag and drop website?
Onto a drag and drop website, built by Wix. So Wix was around. That was it.
So you taught yourself how to do that?
Yeah. At 12. YouTube as well. So I just YouTubed the whole thing. Yeah.
And at this stage, did you learn anything from school at this stage about this process?
No. Well, you think about, I guess, what was I, 12? So maybe grade 7, roughly. I mean, what skills of business do you learn in grade 6 or 7? None. I mean, there's no business class and no entrepreneur class. You don't do accounting. You don't do economics. Nothing.
No.
You learn how to. You've done your times tables. You're learning how to advance multiplication or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, none of that applies to an actual real world business scenario. You don't learn how to find a product. You don't learn marketing. You don't learn sales. You don't learn any of the stuff that you actually need. And even still, no matter if you're in grade 12, it still doesn't matter. You still don't learn it.
Do you think it gave you kind of like fundamentals for like life in general?
Oh, yeah, certainly. I mean, to say that school didn't teach me how to read and write, how to, sit here and talk to you today, I mean, that would be completely wrong to say. So, of course, school taught me, a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
And it teaches everyone that. And I think the Australian school system does a fantastic job at what it's designed to do, which is to teach kids the fundamentals. But what they try and morph it into is almost like trying to prepare you for the real world. And when it comes to that, has a horrible job of doing it because you can learn your STEM, your science, technology, English, maths, and that's fine. But how do you actually apply that to a real world situation? None of that you learn.
Yeah, yeah. The card business at 12, and that goes somewhere. That start making you money.
Yeah, so that was like $300, $350, and for me at that time was like, holy mo, because I'd never sold anything. Like I never knew that actually something online could work. I mean, you might hear about it, you know, guys who do incredibly well selling stuff online, but to actually think that it could work for you, I didn't know that. So for it to actually get there, it was fantastic. And
to set up the e-commerce part, did your dad help you or your mum?
That was hardly even e-commerce. That was like a drag and drop website builder with a simple payment processor on the back of it. So I had no idea that was even called e-commerce. I just knew how to upload stuff.
I love the way you say a simple payment process, but like when somebody's thinking about a 12-year-old doing that, it's great, you know. So is it your mom or your dad, or who kind of helped you in the background?
I know I used Dad's credit card to sign up for PayPal, which he found out, which was giving money onto it. So I don't know why he was so mad. But anyway, so if anything, should thank me. But no, they look. Dad has always been there in terms of, you know, he knows about tax and how to set up a business properly and all that sort of stuff. That. It's good because he won't actively walk in on me and go, this is, you got to set this up properly, you got to do it this way, this way, this way. He'll never do that. He still doesn't do it today. I've got to go ask him, and I've got to go push the answers out of him and make sure he gives me the right advice. So for me at 12, when no one really knew anything that I would actually go anywhere, it was almost like a push comes to shove. Okay, just figure it out yourself kind of thing.
So then over the next while, you started getting up really early and doing some work before school.
Not even that, because it was school. Like, okay, I actively now, especially for the last year, actively get up with the goal of going to do work, as in getting up, working, going to school. It's kind of structured. Whereas back when I was 12, 13, 14, I mean, it would just be on weekends, it'd be after school, whenever I could get time to sit on a computer, which, thankfully was quite a bit. That was what I'd do, not because I needed to do it, but because I wanted to do it. And I think that was like when you see like young kids playing computer games. That was like your computer game. I played computer games as well. Like that wasn't a thing. But instead of all the time playing computer games, I played 20% computer games, 80% trying to do a drag and drop website builder. And for me, and I know a lot of other kids as well, proportionally speaking, it's genuinely interesting to go ahead and almost go, yeah, I'm actually doing something online that I know can actually reach people. It doesn't just reach my school, it reaches adults. And that was like, whoa, wow.
Yeah, and gets people. And so over the course of the next few years, you got obviously to $1 million business. And did you feel you missed out on anything? Like what were you, like that your friends were doing or?
No, and that's why I put such a I put a priority on making sure that I still am a 17-year-old at some times, because my biggest thing is regret, whether it's my personal life, whether it's in business, not doing enough with what I believe I have. And I think that if I, in 20 years' time, look back to today and go, I wish I did this, I wish I did that, that's the worst thought of currently sitting here right now. So for me, everything that I can do in terms of, taking the opportunities to go out with friends at night or do things during the day, and that's just in personal, or whether it be in business, taking every single opportunity that comes my way, physically possible that I can with the time restraints that I did technically have, now don't.
Well, do you feel now that you've left school, you've got so much time in your hands?
Well, it's scary because it's, like, you imagine, because you got imagine if your day from Monday to Friday was filled, I say 6 hours, but it would be more because there's travel time, there's, it's time after school for homework and all that. Yeah. Could you imagine what your day would look like if you couldn't, 6.5 hours were just swiped out? Like it's pretty scary. And then to order, so
I love the way you say wiped out. It's like just doing nothing.
Exactly. Yeah, just sit there and look at a blank screen. Yeah. So hopefully no one here does. But from that, it was like, well, now finally I can spend 7 days working on just one thing. And for me, that's very exciting. And for anyone, it's kind of like, oh yeah, okay, that doesn't really make much sense. But it's just the simple things. And I think once you haven't had something for so long and then it finally goes, okay, you've got it instantly, I think that's really cool.
No, absolutely. And you just mentioned there one of your biggest things is regrets. Right, you're 17.
Yeah.
Do you have any regrets so far?
Not so far. I've only had 17 years to muster up regrets, so I've got plenty more time to, I guess, make more regrets. But at this stage, thankfully, I mean, I'm sure maybe there's one or two, but nothing glaring that stands out, which is fantastic. for me, I know the only person I'm going to make happy is myself. And as much as I try to make everyone else around me happy, if you're not happy yourself, you're going to make no one else happy. So for me, I I'm just try to take time to, go to the gym, go running, do activities, do sport, all that stuff to really, I guess, dice up my day. Because at the end of the day, no one can spend 12 hours sitting in front of a computer screen and then walk around and smile and think they're super. You've got to do things in between. And
Absolutely.
I think having a balance in everything that you do, whether it's you're a sports star, you've got to balance it with everything else. So whether you're a business person and you want to balance it with everything else, doesn't matter what you do.
100%. So now tell me about your business. So you have been known like in the media as a teenage millionaire, and it's fantastic. Fair play to you.
Yes.
Tell me, so it wasn't from selling the cards. So what is it? What was it that...
Yeah. Okay. So we did the cards, and then about 14 and a half, 15, it was almost like, well, what's next? And for me, at 15, people start to ask you, I guess the question gets put, what are you doing after school? Are you going to start getting a job? And as I said before, the idea of going to work at Kmart and McDonald's, for me and many other kids was like, oh, yeah, not really a fan. But unlike many other kids, and I know kids like so many like me that have gone, well, okay, how can we go ahead and I guess turn that on its head and try to make some money elsewhere?
I don't think I ever thought in school about Kmart, McDonald's, but I did think about big companies. So you didn't think like, say, Google or Facebook or Yahoo Finance, for example?
Well, you think about it. Let's to get a job at Yahoo Finance. You got to finish school. I don't think you'd hire anyone without a degree. So a high school diploma.
Yeah.
Then you.
I would have hired you.
then you. Oh, thank you. Then you've got to get a. Usually, most of you guys have degrees, correct? Yep, nod. Yep, exactly. So most people have degrees.
Yeah.
And what's that, a 4-5 year process? If you have a gap year before that, makes it 6.
Absolutely,
So what, you're at 12, let's say 14. You're a 14-year-old looking ahead and going, actually, it's going to be 10 years till I can ever actually get a job that I think is really cool. Well, Yahoo Finance. So for me, that was never the option. So it was actually a day I was watching YouTube in bed, ironically, at 10 o'clock at night. And I came across this guy who was very similar age to me. He's 20, 21, so a couple of years older. And he was making all this, it was a YouTube ad. He was clearly trying to scam some course off people. But he was talking about how he made all this money online through importing and exporting products. And I thought that was really cool. I was like, this guy is selling products. I've done this before. I've done the gift cards. How hard could it possibly be? So dropshipping was a model that he did. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what I do today. And that's what this guy was doing. And so I thought, well, let's give it a shot. I mean, how hard could it be? At this stage, I had $500 from mowing lawns next door, saved up all my money. And I said, well, let's give it a shot. Because at the end of the day, what else? There's no plan B. It's plan A. Let's make it work.
Yeah. Just with the dropshipping, can you just explain it for people who don't know what it is, just like in simple terms?
But yeah, so essentially dropshipping is a way to sell products direct to consumer without actually having to host any inventory. So when we think about e-commerce, you think about the guy that's got 10,000 of something racked in their garage or wrapped in the shed out the back they bought from China and are trying to sell.
Yeah.
Whereas dropshipping, you can essentially sell any single product you could ever want through a website called AliExpress. All the products are there. All you've got to do is go ahead and just sell that to someone overseas, wherever, whether it's your next door neighbor, whether it's someone in the US. Whenever you sell it, type in their address and the product gets shipped directly to them. So you never have to see it, never have to touch it. The only thing you pay is after they pay you for the product, you pay the supplier and the product gets shipped directly to the guy who bought it from you. So
it sounds like winner, and it sounds easy, and it sounds like
effectively middleman. Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Okay.
So you have no liability, no nothing. You don't have anything in your backyard. You don't have to handle shipping, fulfillment, any of that sort of stuff. So it's really good.
So you saw this guy, you had $500, you said, I'm going to give it a go.
I saw this guy, $500, give it a go. Next step was, well, how do you actually do it? So YouTube it was. So I figured, let's type in how to start a drop shipping store, which many people do, and made it work from there. Now, when I say made it work, 6 months until I made an actual sale. And I blew through the $500 within 2 weeks, running Facebook ads. I had no idea what I was doing. I was completely stuck. So I was mowing lawns next door to get more money. Yeah, every $20 I got would go straight back into Facebook ads to try something new because I couldn't afford a mentor. I didn't have anyone to teach me.
So what were you selling at that point?
So the first product I ever sold was carbon fiber money clips. So like you can put, it's like a carbon fiber money clip and you can put like cash or credit cards in between it. So ironically enough, I found it online and thought that would be it. I stuck with it for 6 months, which was pretty stupid. You should just move on and try something else. It depends what the product is. But I mean, if nothing's selling, a couple of weeks, move on to the next one. But I was so determined on this one because there was no plan B. I mean, I thought, well, if this doesn't sell, what makes something else sell more than this one? I mean, I thought that was really cool, carbon fiber money clips. So the next step was, well, okay, this isn't going to work. 6 months, mum and dad made me keep my phone outside the room, as every single other, 14-year-old's parents do. Not because of the eco, but just because I'd play on it at night. And every single morning, I'd get up for 6 months and run down the corridor, check the phone, and hope to God there'd be one Shopify order for $30 there.
Oh.
And after 6 months, there was. $30 meant, made none of it. $30 didn't make any of it back. It was by no means, a financial feat of achievement. But for me to actually go, oh shit, this worked. Like one. That's all I wanted was one, and it finally happens. It was groundbreaking, and I figured, well, if you can sell one, why not sell 2, 3, 4, 5? So I stuck with it, trial and error, figured out what I was doing wrong, which I still have the ad account today and look back and go, oh my God.
So it was the actual ad account?
It was the actual, the way I was running the ads, the words I was using in the ads to the actual image I was displaying when I was advertising was horrible. The store itself was terrible.
Okay.
It was that bad.
So you would, if you had to go back now, even though you're learning on the job, so you can't take away from that, but like if you went back now, you would change those fundamental things like the ad? Or...
I mean, look, when we spoke about regret earlier, and we touch on this as well, I wouldn't change anything, no matter...
Well, yeah, because you were 15, you were testing all yourself.
But also too, as naive as I might have been, and you can't really change that, it's almost like from that, everything else perspired to the day, to what it is today. And I think that if I had made a sale within the first 3 days of starting, maybe if I had instant success, would I be where I am today? I don't know. And for me, that kind of scares me. So I'm completely happy that it took 6 months. At the time, I wanted to kill someone, but thank God it kind of worked out at the end. And from there, it just scaled up, which is fantastic. Different products, different stores, obviously. But yeah, and all challenges every single day. As good as making one sale might be, the next hurdle pops up, and the next hurdle, the next hurdle, the next hurdle. It doesn't get easier as time goes on. It's almost like the more sales you make and the more money you make, no matter if it's e-commerce or anything, your problems just get amplified. So I think if you can't sort out what you've currently got now, and yet you're still wanting more, yeah.
Did you go on? Did you keep going with the money clip or the paper, the carbon clips, or did you move on to different products
actually,
quickly?
So just to answer when you said problem with the first sale, when I made the first sale, it was $30 was how much paid to me, but the clip itself was $11. I didn't have $11, so I couldn't actually afford to ship the thing out. So I had to come up with a way to get $11, and then so that was the first issue. Many more perspired from them, but I think that for me, so different stores. Obviously, I moved on from Money Clips about a month after I sold the first one. And so currently right now we've got 42 products live, 14 different stores, all running different things. And it's fantastic. I'm in a really good position now where I get to do a lot of the things that I've always wanted to do. And
what's your biggest selling product now?
Like for example, one thing that's going really well is, for example, a laptop desk. So it's literally, so like if you're at night working or you're in bed and you want to put your laptop on without having to have it on your legs because it's uncomfortable. It's literally a plastic stand that
like
goes
a
over.
Tray.
Like a tray, exactly. And you can have a little mouse extension and
nice.
You upsell that. So like literally you charge $10 more for a mouse thing next to it.
Yeah.
And you can also do another upsell. Well, it's like you can put the grippy thing to make it stick to your bed better so it doesn't move around when you're trying to type. You can also put rubber supports on the front of it so you can rest your hands there when you're typing.
Yeah. Nice.
So,
and then you can switch off the laptop and put on your breakfast on it.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's good. So how do you pick the products then? Which obviously you picked the carbon one, you thought that was cool. So how do you pick them normally?
So now, after I have a bit more experience doing it, the best way I think to go ahead and do it is to find out what's already selling and what already works. Think about it. Why would you start a business off the idea that something would work? Start something that already does work. Makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So for me, I've got a team now that go through Facebook, and I say a team, but anyone can do it. Go through Facebook and see the products. They pop up in your feed all the time. The stupidest things that you see and you go, what the hell is that?
I'm trying to think.
Because everyone sees them, and that's the thing. So have a couple of seconds, come back, say it, butt in when you do think about it.
It's usually stuff that I'm talking about or I'm having a conversation about, or
so you're one of those people that think that Facebook listens to your conversations.
I swear to God, sometimes I have a conversation with somebody and
it pops up.
And then 2 minutes later there's a do you not think that there's any sort of listening to conversation?
Well,
or maybe it's because Facebook and WhatsApp go together, and then when I have a conversation on WhatsApp, then it pops up on Facebook.
From what I know and what everyone knows, I can't speak about what goes on behind Facebook's stuff that we all don't know. But from what they say, WhatsApp is completely 100% encrypted, and that Facebook doesn't listen to your conversations. But hearing what they've been through on the last couple of months, God knows. But when you say that,
True.
they do track everything. And the scariest thing is that I can literally,
Everything.
I could target an ad in the next 10 minutes, give you 10 minutes to computer, I can target an ad directly to you. It might take a day to show up, but if you tell me what you like, what your interests are, how old you are, what gender you are, we can kind of figure that out, and where you live, where you have lived before, any data you can give me.
Yeah.
Oh, and your email address makes it 100%. But
Boom.
for
And
anything
then you
else, I can target you from that. Job position as well. You can do job position at Verizon Media.
Yep.
So, yeah, there are so many different things, and it's scary. It is.
It's very scary.
They know a lot.
And so so your whole business then is using those targeted ads on Facebook?
Pretty much, yeah.
Do you,
So,
anywhere else, or is just?
look, I mean, my motto is why change what already works. I think that as soon as you find a skill and you get really good at it, I think go 100% at it, because you can run ads on Google. You can do a lot of different other things. You can run ads on Twitter, Pinterest as well as a new other, TikTok as well. I know a lot of people are trying that. But I think Facebook is a platform that's been around for longer than all of them. They've got their ad, I guess, the data, the machine behind Facebook that runs ads, and the one that shows you content, the one that figures out what you like and don't like.
Yeah.
Very, very, very advanced. So
Yeah, but you say, what's the point in changing if it's working? But what happens if they change? Like, with Google, they've changed their algorithm, and SEO companies have gone off the grid completely. So if Facebook changed things completely and just say they took off their ads, would your business be gone?
Well, yes, in a sense. Like, I don't think we get new customers. I can certainly rework the ones we've already got, because we've got over 10,000 plus emails going on just one store. So the data we have from that is fantastic. You can upload emails into Google and then start retargeting on Google. But I think for as many people think that, if Facebook falls over, anyone who runs Facebook ads solely will also fall over, something else will replace it.
Pop up.
Something else will be there, because Google is an idiot. Google's smart. And I think that as soon as they realize Facebook's tipping over, they'll go in and steal the market share from them and improve their ad platform, which then makes it easiest for us all to then go ahead and spend more money with them. So, yeah.
I know the guys in the audience have lots of questions. We've got the Slido, so they can ask questions, but just let me pull them up here so we can jump onto them. So the first one was... So drop shipping is way too saturated right now. Are you going to continue on this model or eventually build up your own brand? And it's probably a good question in terms of...
no, it is a good question. I agree. Because I get it all the time. And I think that drop shipping, whoever asks it, drop shipping certainly is a saturated market, and depends on what product you pick. Let's say, for example, you do skincare. You're effectively, and Facebook is a bidding platform. Whoever wants to pay the most money to show an ad to a customer is going to get that ad spot. So you're essentially going ahead and saying, I want to sell a skincare product, but I also want to compete with L'Oreal. I want to compete with the big dogs, people who have billions of dollars in marketing budget, and here's you starting with $500. So in that case, yes, it's saturated. So I think it's almost about going and finding that niche, that one product that you've never seen before. Gosh, that's actually really cool, and selling that, because if you haven't seen it before, chances are not a lot of people have either. So going ahead and doubling down on that is certainly the best way to go. If you run a Facebook ad today, you'll realize by tomorrow it's saturated, because you'll be spending $10 for someone to click on it. So
staying on that theme, because there's different themes here. Do you have any specific software or tools you use for product selection? Product selection,
a good one's Turbo Ad Finder, which is when we talk about trying to find those ads that work. Literally, it's the extension that no normal person would ever want, because it only shows you Facebook ads. So it literally removes all the other content out of your Facebook feed. It just highlights the ads that Facebook is trying to show you.
Oh, dear Lord.
Yeah, so it's literally the one that no one would ever want, apart from us guys and dropshipping people. So that's the big one. There's a lot of different other ones that kind of cost a lot of money, but search platforms themselves. Search not only Facebook, but Google Shopping and a whole bunch of other places. But I think as soon as you start to overcomplicate it with software and platforms and trying to get winning products given to you, you kind of lose the art of finding it yourself. So I think learn that, figure it out, and then by that point you'll be ready to go and investigate some other ones.
Yeah, because some people think drop shipping is a get rich quick. But what would you say is probably the biggest risk, or the biggest where you see most people failing on drop shipping?
I think it's the ones that think dropshipping is a get-rich-quick scheme, or the ones that Because there's a lot of people, and unfortunately, with 2019, with the amount of opportunity on the internet out there, there are so many people who are called the golden egg syndrome chasers. So essentially, all they want to do is find that one thing, that one trick that's going to make them the next millionaire. It's going to make them $1 million by tomorrow. And I think whether you do there's people who will try to tell you that dropshipping is the way to do it. They'll tell you that Forex trading is the way to do it. They'll tell you that selling a product on Amazon is the way to do it. There are so many things you can get tricked into. So I think it's the person who goes, okay, I like selling products online. I like using social media to advertise them, which is all proven. And I want to go ahead and I want to spend some time and I want to get this right. I'm committed. And more importantly, too, I'm dedicated and I'm going to make this work.
Yeah, so I actually really enjoying it.
Oh, they enjoy it and they're in it for the long run. I think that's important.
You mentioned that school doesn't set you up for real life. What would you do to change that?
I think real world skills would be the first one. I think that, we learn the basics, as I said, so STEM, science, technology, English, math, which is fantastic. But I think at the end of the day, it always comes down to we don't know how to walk into a job interview and present yourself correctly. You don't know how to answer questions correctly. We don't learn how to pay tax. We don't learn how to get up on stage and speak properly. We don't learn how to, there are so many different situations.
Life skills. Yeah.
Life skills that we need.
Business skills.
Not even that, just manage a personal relationship. Go out there and find a good partner. Things that are make or break in someone's life, if you stuff them up, it will stuff your life up.
Yeah.
Not knowing science won't stuff your life up, but stuffing up a relationship 5 years in after school is going to do that. So I think that certainly that, but more importantly too, don't just teach entrepreneurial skills because not everyone wants to become an entrepreneur. Teach skills that apply to everyone because it's important for kids in cities such as Brisbane, Sydney and Melbourne. But even more important to kids, out west, Gundawindi and all that. So I think it's really important. And for those kids, it means a lot more. And unfortunately, the education system is cookie cutter. It's the same for everywhere. I think that if it can adapt, it would be fantastic.
And not everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. If you weren't an entrepreneur and had to work for a company tomorrow, is there any place that you would, if you couldn't be an entrepreneur, you had to go and get a job, is there any company that you would like to do a stint in? Or are you just totally 100%?
Am I meant to say Yahoo Finance?
No. Well, you can. You can.
Look, I couldn't tell you because...
So it doesn't even enter your head. That's fine.
I never...
That's fine. It doesn't even enter your brain.
I mentioned it before. It's almost like, why have a plan B when all you need to do is focus on plan A? I think why have a backup or a redundant, and this is just general, why have a backup or a redundant plan? Because if you do, you're almost planning to fail. Yeah. You are planning to fail. Plan to win, plan to succeed, and plan to do whatever you are going to... Because if you're going to set yourself 100% and you have a backup plan, that's not 100%, that's 98%.
Yeah.
So technically, there's two ways. I get plan B, but also why have a plan B when you're trying to get plan A to work?
Make plan A work.
Exactly.
Good. Excellent. You've worked with Tony Robbins. What did you learn and what is he like?
He's big. He's huge.
What do you mean?
Like
stature.
Size, stature, everything. If you had Tony Robbins right here, I think we'd see a bit of this shaking or something. But a lovely guy. For me, Tony Robbins, I first heard of Tony when I was 10 or 11 years old. Dad had all these CDs because he bought them from some infomercial off TV that Tony was doing. And I said, well, Dad, what are these CDs? And he goes, they're a guy named Tony Robbins who talks about, self-help and mental coaching. I said, who the hell, I vividly remember, who the hell would ever want to learn about self-help? And they literally just stormed out of the room and go, what a loser. Okay. Little did I know, fast forward, 7 or 8 years that, I'd be speaking with him on stage in front of 4,000 people.
You were speaking with him on the stage?
No, not literally with him. He stepped out 3 minutes after. And my whole thing was I paid a ridiculous amount of money to get a photo with him after. And I thought maybe if Tony saw my speech, he might like it because he was backstage. And I knew that. And I thought, oh God, I hope to God. It's a 2-day event. I was the very last one before he went on. I thought, wow, maybe if you saw it, that'd be really cool. Anyway, so I went to get the photo 15 minutes after he finished talking. And I walked in and, there he is. I'm like, oh, God. And he said, what's your name? Because he saw us pretty young. And I said, Jack Bloomfield. And he got halfway through saying my name. And he goes, you're the e-commerce guy. I love you. That was fantastic. One of the best speeches I've ever heard. And
no way.
I just smile from ear to ear. And I said, Tony... because, literally they're like, hurry up, because they have 5 people, so you can't take any phones in, anything. stand, smile, go. So I said, Tony, if I send you a message on Instagram tonight, will you open it and will you reply? Because I can't get anything in. And he goes, yeah, I will. And I'm like, oh, yeah. And people say that. But can you actually? I don't know. So I texted him that night and said, Tony, I met you today. I spoke before you. I really love what you do and all that stuff. Anyway, I got a voice message back and I was literally in the Uber and Tony Robbins' voice cracks out.
No.
I was just...
That voice bellowing down the phone.
It's like the most exciting sound my phone has ever heard, like for me and my phone. So it was like, yeah, it was fantastic.
And are you still in contact with them?
Yeah, exactly. Audio message once a month. It's fantastic. So...
And did he still charge you even though you're a fellow? Did he still charge you for that photo?
Oh, that wasn't him. That was the touring company I was with.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. We'll leave it.
Don't go with that. Yeah.
Okay, so tell me, have you ever been treated differently due to your success from friends or family? And this is a question actually I spoke to Lucy about earlier on, because like there's often tall poppy syndrome, and people will look at, say, 17-year-old millionaire. There might be like begrudges.
Yeah.
Do you get a lot of that?
Yeah, and before last year, when kind of like it got publicised what I did, I never told anyone about. My mum and dad knew, and a couple of close friends and a couple of close family, but other than that, no one knew.
Oh, really?
So it was to a friend of a friend of a friend, and a reporter from News Corp reached out and said we'd love to do a story on you, and I was like, oh right, okay. I never spoken to a reporter ever, so I had all my notes ready. I knew kind of what I wanted to say, so I agreed to do it. I got on the phone, it was like a mumbling, jumbling mess. I was trying to explain what I did, trying to explain my story. I
can't imagine you were mumbling, jumbling.
Yeah, I've come a long way in a year.
Yeah.
I was trying to go ahead and do that, and I thought, well, how many stories get published a day? Whether it be on Yahoo, whether it be on news.com.au, hundreds. So I figured, this could just be one that gets on page 3. That'd be cool. Anyway, it got published, and it was like the top trending news article all weekend, and everyone saw it, like everyone. And as cool as that might be for some people, for me, I didn't really want anyone to know, but everyone now knew, and this was on a weekend.
How did you get approached though? If no one like?
Well, no, it was a friend of a friend of a friend. So
okay.
And I was completely flabbergasted that I was like, report. I thought it was actually a scam to begin with, so I had to like look into the email, copy make sure it's an actual URL, and it was. So I went ahead with that, and everyone and. Look, the response for the first week was like, people were like, what the? I had no idea. I'd be the kid that would sit next to someone, just be tapping away, but no one would actually know what I was doing.
What you were up to.
Yeah, because I was building businesses for me. I wasn't doing it for, the gratification or the glory or the money. Like, I just genuinely liked it. It was just what I wanted to do. So then from there, it kind of, I guess, spiraled out of control and in terms of media. But everyone else, I guess, after a week, it blew over. It wasn't new news at school anymore. Everyone knew. It was almost like, well, let's move on. And it was fantastic. So, but I was worried because in Australia, tall poppy syndrome is certainly a thing. In America, it's a lot better, as in the attitude towards success and entrepreneurship. Americans embrace that. Whereas here in Australia, we're very, what's going on here? And that's just culturally. It's not one individual. So for me, I was very worried, but it's worked out really well. And my biggest push now is it's almost like, seeing Australia isn't exactly the place for innovation, as a whole, where it's encouraged. I want to be that person that goes, well, I started at 14, 15 years old with $500 on my bank account to start an e-commerce store. I think if I can go ahead and do that and learn from YouTube, anyone can go ahead and do it. Whether you're a 17-year-old, a 12-year-old, a 35-year-old, or a 40-year-old single mum, it doesn't matter. Yeah. I think that story itself has resonated with so many people, and the amount of individuals who I've encouraged to go ahead and start a store by proxy, just by hearing my story and listening to it, it's fantastic, and it's more than I could ever ask for. And to get a message to say, Jack, you've changed my life, I mean, that in itself is just... No matter what you achieve, I think when you get one of those, it's the most humbling feeling ever.
Oh, absolutely. So would you think that's going to be the long-term goal, as helping people, or
it was all me.
Get an online store and sell things and
how can
make
I
money?
Make money? How can I? And that was just a personal thing. I think it's for everyone as well.
Yeah. So what is has that changed?
And the media itself has all been about me. And now there's certainly been a push over the last 2 months. I've really got thinking in terms of, okay, that's great. Everyone knows me, my story. That's fantastic. But almost like, how can I shine a light on someone else? How can I use what I've developed and what I've achieved to go ahead and make Australia a place where if you're a 12-year-old kid who wants to go ahead and start a business, you can walk into school, you can walk into your government's office and declare that, And you're not going to get laughed at. You're not going to get chopped off at the knees before you can even get started.
Yeah.
You are encouraged. And I think for me, like last week, we launched an incubator where for any kid who wants to sell a product online, has a product, wants to take it to the online world, I'll pay for it, I'll show them how to do it, I'll give them the store, and I'll scale it with them. And applications are open for that right now. And that's something that I'm doing. We're going to be launching something really special next year, of which really goes ahead and takes those skills you learn in school and applies and shows you how to apply them for the real world.
That's brilliant.
Partnering with the federal government, state government, getting all them involved. And there are so many different other things we're doing as well. And I think for me, my push is how can I give every single Australian kid the opportunity that I never had, the mentorship that I never had, and everything else that I never had, to go ahead and to start a business. And whether it be a business or whether they just do something they love, I think that if I can do that, then it's a job well done, I think.
Oh, no, that's brilliant. Who is your mentor now, and what do you want to learn moving forward now that you've reached huge success and finished school? I think you've almost answered that question.
Well, I think mentors, my take on mentors is I don't have one specific person or maybe a couple that I specifically learn from. My whole thing is, your mum can be a mentor, your friend can be a mentor. You don't have to be someone successful. I think for any single person you meet, whether it's the cleaner in your bathroom or whether it's the CEO of PNG, it doesn't matter. I think that at the end of the day, everyone's got something valuable to say and no one person has all the answers. So I think that you've got to become really good at taking parts from individuals that you think gel with you, lessons, experiences, and more importantly to learn from their mistakes, take those on board. Don't make the same mistakes, and I guess take it from there, which I think is powerful. Yeah,
because you mentioned your friends with one of our previous guests,
Sam
Bashiri.
Yeah.
So he was like, he started out himself, and he would got his business off the ground. So there's things you could take from him too.
Oh, certainly, and I think that Sam is as much as he started a couple of years after I did, a very similar story. And I think that it's good now because platforms such as this shine a light on the fact that you don't need to be a trust fund kid with, millions of dollars or a guy that's 35 with 2 degrees and, the world with them to start a business. You can be anyone. And I think that 15 years ago, that was a lot harder. Whereas, like guys like Sam and myself have used the internet, have used the power of, being able to connect with people wherever they are to my advantage. And I think that I do that and there's no reason why anyone else can't too.
Been so lovely talking to you, Jack.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much for coming on to the show. And I look forward to seeing what you do in the next 17 years.
Oh, thank you. We'll come back on and we'll explain it then.
Yes. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.